Real estate agent, are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder Podcast.
We're coming. Here we go. Hey, Deric, how are you today? Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you all. Wait a minute. I'm not ready yet. Now I'm ready. All right. So I want to welcome you all. To Real Estate Talk, TGIF. This is episode 140. Holy moly, 138 weeks ago, I decided to start doing this thing and said I'm going to keep going until I can't do it. I have missed one Friday. That'd be a Saturday because I was sick. We had 2 extra shows, 138 weeks in a row. And we have today top listing agent, Boston, Massachusetts, who I learned of about, it's got to be about 10 years ago, Deric, where I started actually using you as a training point with agents wanting to call expireds, right? Where your videos were on YouTube and everybody saw you. But before we get into that, I have to ask, as I said, this is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 140. Do you know what TGIF stands for?
Thank God it's Friday.
You're close. You're really close. You got 3 other words. It's thank God it's finale. And here we are. It's thank God it's finale. Deric, thanks so much for coming. It's Friday, February. What day is today anyway? February
19th.
19th. Holy shit, I missed. Right. Anyway, so here we are. We're going to talk about what's going on. Talk to me first, Deric, about real estate, how you got into real estate, your past, and how you got to be the person you are with, you know, the amount of business you do and the ease of which it appears that you talk on the phone.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole key, isn't it? I mean, people always see me on the videos and they think it's so easy because I make it look easy, but there's a lot of training and years and coaching behind that to make it look that way, to come off that way, to be that comfortable on a conversation with someone you don't know and ask for business and get told no multiple times until you get the final yes or they hang up on you, right? So that's the old salesman code. You keep calling till they either buy or die. So how did I get into real estate? Out of college, I had an accounting degree with a minor in marketing. I went into accounting. I had done accounting all through college as one of my 3 jobs, put myself through college. And the final year, I went into public accounting and did taxes, and I go, all right, this sucks. I don't want to do this. This is, they're working me 78 hours a week, and I'm getting paid 35, 40 grand, which back in 2000, that's probably like making 70 now. It still wasn't enough of the money. They were really just basically just abusing me there. After one tax season, I'm like, that's it. I just don't want to do this anymore. So I got involved. I knew someone that was in real estate. They said, check it out. I continued to do real estate. I continued to be an accountant and do real estate on the side. The first year I worked part-time. I think I sold 30 homes, and I made back then the homes were selling for like 150, 125. So I think I made and I was on a real, like a 50-50 split. So I think I made like 45 or 55, but still it was more than I made at the accounting firm. So I said, well, it doesn't take an accountant to figure out where you're making more money. So right. I went full-time into real estate. And the first year, I think I jumped up to like 120. And then after that, I was sold the whole way. So I started a mom and pop's firm, worked there for 2 years until Keller Williams. This is the first branch that opened up in Massachusetts. They started recruiting top agents from the South Shore of Boston, where I work. They came after me. And, honestly, I wasn't sure to go there. I really wasn't sure. No, back then the big thing was Keller Who. No one knew. We had these signs that Keller Who, T-shirts that said Keller Who, because Keller Williams was from Texas, not from the Northeast. So no one knew who they were. And some of the guys at work played a joke with me one day and left a Keller Williams directional on my desk. And when I was thinking about going, my boss walked in and saw it and he goes, "What, are you leaving?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, get the hell out of here." So that's how I joined Keller Williams. And I got hooked up with a real good guy, a guy named Barry Papagno, was a mentor of mine, kind of a father figure, took me on his wing, taught me a lot of stuff about scripts and dialogues. I absorbed it. Later on, I got involved with Mike Ferry, Tony Robbins, Tom Ferry, Floyd Whitman, even Tom, if you remember Tommy Hopkins,
yep,
some Tom Hopkins events, and started getting into coaching. And from there on, it just kind of took off.
Yeah, a great point here is coaching, right? So you
Yeah.
started doing it, you learn how to do it, and realized some more help was there and available, and you went. I mean, you went with some of the big guys. I mean, you had local people that helped you along the way, which is really important. And I think one of the things where I think that worked really well to your advantage is you had someone that actually helped you, right? And I think that's a big problem in today's real estate industry. And it has been. I mean, I remember when I first got in the business, there's a phone answer if it rings. That was kind of what the training was.
You used to do uptime.
Right, uptime. And I hear agents say, "Well, I've got to go to the office because I have my opportunity time today." And I said, "Does the phone ring?" Nah, not really, but I get to do other things, and it makes me do other things. And I really don't understand that much, So tell me about your experiences as far as the coaching is concerned. Let's just talk about that for a couple of minutes. Coaching was really big for you, and how did it transform you from when you started to later on, and what did it do for you?
Well, at first, the hardest part of coaching was to swallow that $1,000 a month pill. I mean, that was a lot of money when I first started. And even though you're making, 100 to 200 somewhere in there, it's still, you're just like, what am I paying for? You don't know until you start seeing the results. And it doesn't happen right away. When you coach, can you knock that ball out of the park? Sure. But does it take, usually you have to crawl before you can walk, and you start seeing yourself change through the years and getting better and better. I mean, it didn't take long in some of the coaching programs to get the scripts, to get the dialogues, to role play, to start making the calls, to feel the strength, to call the expireds, to call the for sale by owners, to call your database and ask for the business and approach strangers and ask for business. I was always about, scripts and dialogues. So when I got a hold of that, I just sucked it all in. But really Ferry was the base of what I had for what I learned. And again, you have to change some of the scripts there a little bit. What he does in California doesn't necessarily work in the Northeast. They have a phrase, you got a New York minute on the phone to make your first opening call presentation. So, while people down South might be nicer, people up North are pretty much, I hate to say it on your thing, but there's a lot of assholes up there,
Say whatever you want, man.
Yeah. So they actually have a term for people in Boston. They call them massholes. So, there's just a lot of them out here, and I'm probably one of them. But you start to develop your skill set. You adjust. You always keep going at it. You move to the side, move to the left. You go around. You just try to figure out what works. So most of my talent that I got was some coaching, but also trial and error and role playing every day. And I used to role play twice a day. When I got really good, I was role playing on East Coast at 8 o'clock, and I was role playing at 11 o'clock on West Coast because that's their 8 o'clock. And I would get two different styles, and you'd see like the very hard-nosed Northeast way to close people. Then you'd see the very soft close from the West Coast. And I liked them both. And after years of doing that, you just kind of blend it together to make what I say, the style that I do, which comes across, I feel, very genuine.
It does. And we were talking the other day, and you mentioned it just now, is you have to change where you're at. You have to change for the geography you're in.
Camouflage. The camouflage.
Right. And talk about that a little bit more. And because the scripts are the same, right?
Yeah, the framework's the same. It's the small nuances that makes it different than where you are. So same for us. Like we talked about this yesterday, and Dave, you can role play this question with me again. We did it. We'll just do it live here. Right. When the Army goes into Africa, what color is the camouflage?
Tan.
Right. If the Army goes into the desert, what color is the camouflage? I'm sorry, the Army goes into the Antarctica, what color is the camouflage?
White.
If they go into the jungle, what color is the camouflage?
Green.
Right. So the mission is the same. Conquer. Like get in there, stop the bad guys, and do it. Same for us. The mission's the same. Get on the phone, call. The difference is we got to change our camouflage a little bit. We got to change the way we ask questions. Maybe we'll ask a little different question. We'll listen a little more. We will listen less. It really depends on where you are and how the people allow you to talk and what you listen for. So for me, those small nuances makes you from good to great.
Yeah. So it took you, as we said, it took you years to develop your style, right? And
yes.
even when I started, using your videos as a coaching tool for my brokerage, your style was there, and it was, you did it. There were a couple of things I always noticed about you, and tell me a little bit about this. You always looked like you were having fun doing it.
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. You try to have fun. I mean, it's that's part of the thing. You know, if I try to make myself laugh all the time, and I love when I get people who are really tough, because in real estate, if we're calling expired, and we get these all the time know-it-alls. Well, this is our business. We should be the guy who knows it all. So when they want to debate me, I'm happy to debate them. Not that it's going to get me the listing appointment. At a certain point, you know you're not going to get it. But at that point, like, I'm just going to have fun with this guy until he either hangs up or whatever. You know what I mean? And so I like to have fun on the phone. I like to talk to people like it's a conversation versus an interrogation. And you know when I coach people about that stuff, it's kind of like, you know, and I role play this with you, Dave, real quick. We can do this. This would be more of this is what the interrogation would be like. Dave, what color is your car?
gray.
What year is it?
2016.
What make is it?
Toyota.
Now we do the conversation. Dave, what color is your car?
That's gray.
Gray. Oh man, that's a nice color. What year is it?
It's a 2016.
2016. Oh, that's neat. You probably don't have that many miles on it. What's the make?
It's a Toyota.
I love Toyotas, man. It's the best car out there. Those things last forever. So that's the same 3 questions, except on the second time, instead of just asking a question and asking the question, asking the question,
Absolutely.
we ask, repeat, and affirm, and move to the next question. It makes a huge difference in a conversation.
So when you're having that conversation, okay, so let's get right into the expired conversation or the FISBO, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to get objections. Now, is it important? Do you believe that there's some different schools of thought on this, right? Is it important to handle the objection, or is it important to just acknowledge it and move on?
It totally depends on the objection and how many times you've heard it. The first time, I always like to shelve it. If I can shelve it, I shelve it. You know what I mean? You heard it. You know, I'm not selling the summer. You're not selling the summer. That makes sense. Let me ask you, when you do sell, where are you moving next? If I keep hearing that I'm not going to sell the summer, I'm not going to sell the summer, I'm not going to sell the summer, after the second or third time, I'm going to have to take them down and take that objection, you know, take it down as best I can in order to try to get that appointment, if I think I can get that appointment. And again, when you make these calls now, when I first started, I was trying to go after anything. But now, from just doing it, I can kind of sense who I'm going to want to work with and who I'm not going to want to work with. And if I even want to put the effort into that kind of a call, because 21 years, 1,000 homes sold on your belt, listen, some of these people can give you cancer. Like, it's just, I don't want to deal with that at this point in my career. Someone's going to be brutal to me on the phone. They're going to be brutal on the presentation. They're going to be brutal on the commission. They're going to be brutal when the offer comes in lower. It's just going to be a nightmare, the entire deal. So if I hear someone that gives me any of those kind of red flags, I'm out. And again, when I'm calling people, it's as much as an interview for them as it is for me.
So let me ask you this question. So in other words, you'd say no to business.
Some of it, yes.
How long did it take you? You said 21 years, right? So how long did it take you to get from taking anything you could get to saying no?
I mean, I've also aged, so that probably has a part of it.
I understand that.
I think age has just like what you want to deal with, what you don't want to deal with. Do I want to spend this time with this guy or be with my family doing something else? And you look for subtle signs. And after so long of doing it, you can kind of, I don't want to say stereotype, but you can kind of hear someone's voice if they're going to be a dick or not. So probably about 10 years into it, I started going like, okay, I know I'm going to do so much business that if I don't get this one deal, I'll be fine anyways, and I'll just move to the next one, and I'll cover more ground than waste time doing this. So I would say I'm 21 years in the business. About halfway through my career, that's when I started being able to determine if I wanted to get on it or not. And it was tough because, remember, I started in 2000. In 2006, we had that crash. You know, in 2000, actually, we had 9/11, and then in 2006, which was the first dip in the market, and then in 2006, we had that crash, and you had to struggle to get anything. And as the market started coming back up in 2010, that's when around 2010, 2011, that's when I started going, all right, I mean, there's still business going on and I can get it. I'm not scared anymore. I'm not jumping on everything. Let's just see what I can do. But in 2006 to 2010, that market had crashed. I was on everything. And that was an expired market. And that's what we have coming up. I don't think a lot of these viewers maybe not know that this market's going to change. Every market, whether it's stocks, bonds, real estate, it goes up, it goes down. We're at a high right now. So it doesn't take a 6-year-old to figure out what, if you show them a graph up and down, what's coming next. We're going to go down. And when it goes down, you got to have your skill set strong so you can go after. You got to have price objections. You got to be able to call expires because there's going to be a ton of them. And that's where the business is going to be instead of having referrals. Now, the referrals are always an important part, but you can't wait for that phone to ring. You got to make the phone ring.
Right. And you know, you hit on a couple of really interesting things. Everything you're saying is so on point and so in what I'm saying. We're talking about the market, right? And you also talked about role play earlier, which is practice, right? And one of the things that I see the 80 to 90% of the agents out there, the mistakes that we're making, if I may, and assume this, is that they're just not practicing. You know, I talk about you know, sports players like let's talk about Tom Brady. We can talk about Derek Jeter. We can talk about all these people. And what do they do every day of their career? They practice. What do they do the day before their last game of the year, which typically was a World Series game or a Super Bowl? What did they do? They practiced, right? That's what they did. You figure they're at the pinnacle of their sport and they're still practicing. Well, that's because they know they need to stay sharp. They know they need to do it. So practice is really important. And it's been a really key to your business, right?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that analogy because one of my coaches told me that. He goes, dude, you got to practice every day. You're not Michael Jordan. You're not just going to show up in a limo on the game 8 and throw 50 points. You got to be out there after game 7 and throw 200 free throws. Just get in there and every day keep doing it. So and again, I didn't like doing that at first. I was like, I know this stuff,
right?
But you don't. You think you do, especially when you think. I tell people all the time, here's my scripts. This is what I use. Use this for now until we can develop your skill set a little bit stronger. You have to learn what works before you change it. So get comfortable being uncomfortable with these scripts. And that's not me. That's not me. Well, look at what how far you've gotten being you. You've got to use some things that have worked, and the scripts work. No matter what you use, as long as you have the same basic questions. And then after you get through that, you can change it as you start seeing more success. But you have to get that skill set first of asking, and then role playing is huge. You have to role play with other agents around the area, and there's so many boards you can go onto and Facebook sites that have them. You can just become friends and role play with people for free. It's not like you got to pay for it.
Exactly, and the important part there is, there's a lot of people that say, well, scripts, I don't believe in scripts. I don't use scripts. Hey, let's face it. These scripts that we're talking about, they've been around for 40 years. It's not that we've changed them. It's just that you said to yourself, learn them before you start changing them, right? So one of the things that I do with my clients and my agents is I say, I want you to recite these scripts. I want you to learn them. I want you to learn them. I want you to know how to use them, so on and so forth. When they get to that point of knowing them, I say, okay, now forget everything I taught you, and now I want you to talk like yourself. And all this shit's going to pop out of your head. What's really cool is when you see them start doing it and it starts coming right out of their mouths and they're saying, where'd that come from, right? It happens all the time, but it only comes with practice. And here's one thing we don't talk about a lot or at all is acknowledgement of, yeah, that's a good idea, right? That shit will really, really work. So the practice is really important. So I want to get to something else you just said, which is something I've been talking about a lot lately is the market, okay? Now, in my opinion, and granted, I've only been around a couple of years, so in my opinion, the last normal market we had, normal, NORMAL, was September 10th, 2001. It was the day before 9/11, right? The reason I say that because everything has not been kind of there since then, in my opinion, right? And what we're seeing now is we're seeing people wanting to move. We're seeing people waiting. It's kind of like the stock market. What's going to happen, I think, is when things start changing, Deric, and I want to hear your complete opinion on this. When things start changing, there's going to be a rush to the market. And then there's going to be a shift. I believe within the next 6 to 12 months, that's all going to happen. And we're going to see that word normal again, which is 90 to 120 days to sell a house, 4 to 6 months of inventory, and 1 to 3% of appreciation. That's what I think we're going to see. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I would say the same thing. I think the market's going to shift, and I'm saying that my prediction was somewhere between the end of this year and the middle of next year, so maybe 12 to 18 months. But what I think is going to happen is, these prices can't sustain themselves the way they are. Rates are low, which is making things easier. So even buying bigger homes, the payments are usually still, if you have a decent amount of money down, cheaper than rent. And if you sell your home to get to another one, it's the time to move up. But again, I've never seen prices this high anywhere across the board. So we can only sustain it for so long. And so that's going to happen. And we just know that it's cyclical. Every market goes up and down. It's just a part of life. and it just, when's it going to come? Now in 06, when the market was going to be crashing, I mean, I remember telling people in 05, like, this is going to go down. Like this, there was articles in the paper about the bubble's going to burst, and that was a huge line everywhere we had it. And I was like, you know, and then it happened, and I mean, we've never seen it. Now, again, we've never seen a market crash like that ever in the history. Even the Great Depression was worse than that. So usually corrections aren't that bad, but 06 was a real bad one, you know, and a lot of people lost their houses and lost their jobs. And I know so many realtors that instead of, you know, just grinding it out and you know, and getting on the phones and learning to hustle and do things you don't want to do, they took second and sometimes third jobs, and sometimes they got out of the market at all. And hey, you got to do whatever you do, take care of your family. I get it. But there's a lot of good people who, you know, lost their houses, and it's tough to see that. I mean, I was almost one of them. I went from, you know, making my income to being cut in a third, and I was like, what the hell am I going to do? And I was living a great lifestyle. I was like, I got to just come in here and do it every day. And then, so that part of that gave me that drive to really just get better at my skill set, do whatever I could do and learn more, and just, you know, and luckily for me, it was an expired market. So I'm good at expired. So, even with the only thing that we had to really challenge us was in 06 was trying to figure out how much more it's going to dip. So in this market, if a home sells for 300,000 and the neighbor's house across the street, the same exact house, now that's 310. And then the house after that is 320. But in the other market, it was 290, 280, 270. So it was developing scripts to get sellers to understand that you've got to price it right now, or if you make an adjustment 30 days from now, it's not going to be 270 anymore, it's going to be 260 or 255. So it was developing those scripts and come up with stories, right? Because people love stories. So I had to develop stories that I could use and close. Like there's a line I have called the elevator close. You ever heard of it? It's a famous close. Have you heard of that?
Go with it.
All right. Dave, have you been on an elevator and you went up instead of going down? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what are your choices at that point? You can either A, get off of that next floor, or B, ride the elevator all the way up and have it come back down again, correct?
Yeah, those are your choices. Yeah, you can get out and still go down again, right?
Right. Same thing with your house. Like we can sell what we can get for today, or we can wait for the market to drop all the way out and then watch it climb up slowly. It's your choice, you know? And so these are the kind of scripts and closes I have to use with people to get them to understand about the difference of prices. Now, nowadays, you don't use those scripts because everything's going up, but that market will shift, and it is definitely going to come back in the next 12, 18 months, my prediction.
Right. So, okay. So today in the market we've got, the only homes that are expiring, would you agree, are the ones that are just way out there, way outlandish with price? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm still taking about one or two a month expired. So, I mean, I still get them. But some of them, you know, there's only 4 reasons why a home doesn't sell. A, it's price, which is probably the biggest one. B, it's condition. C, it's location. Or D, it's, you know, the marketing for the broker. Now, and most of them have a little combination of all 4 of those, but most likely it's price, because honestly, if the location sucks, drop the price. Right. If the condition sucks, drop the price. Marketing, you could have the best you could have the best house in the world, but if no one knows about it, you're not going to see it. So the marketing's got to be there kind of too. So all 4 of those are the biggest reason why homes don't sell. When I go into an expired listing, I talk about that, and I talk about how we're different, how we can make your home more visible to the public that's out there, but we've got to price it right. Again, that's an expired market. We don't use as much as that as we do with this. But even the ones that I've taken this year so far that expired, I use that script a little bit, saying, here's why I think the home didn't sell. I'm not afraid of the price. I just think we need to market it a little bit differently and get into it. And I mean, besides the coaching I've done, Dave, I've also taken classes on ad writing and get hiring the right photographers and finding out what works and what doesn't work. Like if you get a picture of a house, you got to tell people, get the cars out of the driveway, get those trash barrels out of the driveway. I want a clean shot of the house. Like there's all these little nuances that you learn just to try to make the house look like a new house, especially in expired. We have to make it look different than the last listing and breathe life into it, try to get it to sell.
Right. Exactly. So it's a matter of the market. It's a matter of all this other stuff. So, we've got in 06, 07, I mean, look, I am probably one of the unfortunate ones where I bought a house in the high time twice and sold it in the low time twice. So, that was in the late 80s into the early 90s, and then 06 to 2012. So, I've been hurt by it a couple of times, and hopefully I don't get fooled again, but It's the cycle that we see. It's the cycle that a lot of us have experienced. So when we talk about coaching agents, I mean, you coach agents as well. If someone came to you and said, Deric, you're my coach, I need to get a listing this week. What am I going to do? I need to get a listing in the next 5 days, or I gotta get a new job.
That's ideally what you want to hear. You want someone that's driven, that needs that money, because they're the ones going to put in the work. Listen, I was the same guy. I'll do whatever it takes. Just tell me what to do, because I have no idea what I'm doing here. And so all this can be is, you want to go with the coach that has a plan that is successful with what they do. And that's got to involve calling expired for sale by owners, and most importantly, your database. It has to involve social media, some kind of social media. You got to have that out there and let people know, hey, you're in business. So people are using all that. So I use all those different sources for me to get business. You know what I mean? That's part of how I do it. And I try. And as far as the social media goes, whatever I do, if I sell a house, I just try to tell everybody I sold this house. I put it everywhere I can so that you get some responses from that. And I try to add everyone in my database that I already have into my Facebook page. So I'm not pounding them with emails. They're seeing the results I get on their own, and it's organic versus me pounding them.
Yeah, I want everybody to if I could rewind the last 30 seconds of what you said, and when I tell people to do this and I coach people to do this, it's like, huh? What? Yes, everybody that you've done business with, everybody you know should be friends of yours on Facebook, so they can experience you, right, in many different ways, personally, business-wise, etc. Right? That's what you just said.
And they can brag about you. You want these guys to brag about you to their friends, because this is the business of this market. Is not so much an expired market as much as it is a referral market now. So you want people to brag about, oh, you gotta use my guy Deric, he's the best. And I get a lot of those, like, hey, I heard you're the best, I want you to come look at my house. Okay. So
so let's talk a little bit about social, because I love your car videos. I see those all the time, and I don't always interact, but I see them, and I just like, this is great, and I love how you do it. And there's also something about it that is pure characteristic of Deric Lipski, who is Mr. Sold. Where did Mr. Sold come from, by the way?
I was looking for some kind of a spiel or gimmick I could use. I happened to be looking at different license plates. What could I use? And I stumbled upon Mr. Sold is available, and I was like, oh man, this is so. I got that as my license plate, and after I got the license plate, it just blew up from there. So I just used it as all those different things. So last year and the year before, more than any other year, I started bringing that into my sold videos. We're saying like, hey, this at the end of the video, I'll say I sold this house, and find out why they call me Mr. Sold, and I'll show the plate. So that came into more stuff, and it's just I like the term. I was gonna go Dr. Sold and have like I make house calls, but I thought that was a little weird. So I Sold. Yeah, I want Mr. Sold.
So the car videos you do are really cool. It says, hey, your boy Deric here, yada, yada, yada. Tell me where they came from and how they started and what kind of impact they've had for you.
So you're talking about the story videos on Facebook, where I put the story up and I just do like I talk about what's going on for that day, whether I'm going on a listing appointment or doing something.
Lifestyle videos.
So that was just something I thought of. I was just like, it's a story. It's what Facebook does. I kind of keep people involved in my life, whether it's I'm taking my dog to the vet, I'm going on a listing appointment, I'm going to show a property, or something funny I saw that I want to make someone laugh. So I get a lot of comments on people about that, saying like, we love your stories. We love watching the videos every morning. You definitely a guy that makes me laugh. And a lot of people on there I've done business with, some part because of that, and some part they were already customers of mine, and some people just friends. But I get so I do a lot of different things on there. I do stories during COVID when everything last April when everything just dropped off. I think I had like 12 deals in the pipe, and every one of them died. And I was like, holy shit. Like, it was like, that's a lot of money just to die on the plate. Trying to figure out what I need to do differently. I started doing cooking videos. I was like, oh, I love to cook on the side. Let me throw some cooking videos up there. I have my truck video where I bought a new Raptor and I did all these modifications to it. So I threw one of those videos up there. I just try to show people a different side of me. It's not just all business. It's kind of fun too. Like, I'm a fun guy. I don't just, only talk about real estate. I do a lot of things. So that's kind of how to develop. I just want to show a lighter side of me.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I think it's great because I do some stuff that's a little different and whatever. And I've always said that since I've been doing video, and I've been doing video about 14 years. People would always say to me when they saw my videos 14 years ago, when Facebook first started and everything, they'd say, "Oh, I saw your video today," and they used to chuckle, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, and I'd say, "But you watched it, didn't you?" And they say, yeah, right. They watched it.
Yeah.
Now, they're like these so pro video and everything, but still, Deric, what I see when we talk about video and we talk about social media, there's still people that refuse to do it. There's still people that say, well, I don't look good and I don't like the way I sound. And I never forget at Inman hearing Katie Lance say, that's the way you look. That's the way you sound. Just go ahead and do it. Right.
All right.
And here to make you do it. What would you say to those people to help them, even though that's what they keep saying?
Well, it's funny you say that because, I do a lot of deals. I'm always on the phones. I'm always hustling. I got 4 kids. I'm always doing different. I'm always doing different things. So I'm so busy all the time. And one of my social media guys was like, dude, you do everything I ask all my clients to do. The only difference is like, you just don't have it put together. Like, I'm going to put this together for you this year. And my friend Steve, he's done a great job for me. Just putting all my meta tags in, all my Facebook profiles, making them all match perfectly. But as far as the videos go, I'm so used to doing it. It's hard to say like why people don't do it. It's such an easy form. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to. It's not like it's any video is right or wrong as long as you're not being offensive to anybody or saying anything super offensive. I always tell people it's just part of branding. It's just that image, whether you're selling a property, you're talking about a cooking show, you're doing something you want, you're just reminding people like that advertisement, Coca-Cola. You don't even have to ask for business in the video. It's just you putting up, you're doing something, you know what I mean? But as far as any tips I give people, man, videos are a huge bonus. Check-ins, if you're out somewhere and you're going to sell a house, man, check in at the registry of deeds or the lawyer's office. If you're out showing properties and you can't check into our house, go have lunch with your people you're showing house. Check in, like, hey, I'm at McDonald's taking my clients out for a burger before our next thing. There's so many things you can do just to remind people that you're in the business without actually saying, can I have your business? I think that's just a huge, if you're going to do social media, that's a huge push for you.
Right. And that's what I always say. I mean, I heard Chris Smith say, give them your $1.80 version of you every day, 2 cents 90 times.
Yeah.
Right. Just keep putting it out there. I mean, it is valuable because, you're not just doing it to do it. You're not just standing there, right? You actually have a point of what you're saying. And it's like, it's fun because, especially now, I mean, how are people going to interact as much as we want to?
Right.
Look, there's going to be, it's funny, you look back 100 years and they had the 20s, they call them the roaring 20s. And you think about what happened before the 20s 100 years ago, it was the Spanish flu pandemic.
Right.
Right. We're going to have the same thing. I guarantee you we have the same thing, but I digress. So, so when you talk about, let's get back to the calls part of it, because
Sure.
that's really a big thing, right? And there's lots of different pillars of your business, and making the calls is probably one of the biggest ones because it's prospecting, it's lead generating, right? How do you set yourself up to make those calls? I mean, what was your preparation, which now probably comes second nature to you? What was your preparation? Because people, everybody wants to be told what to do. So give us an idea of what your prep was and how you did it.
Okay. So everyone who starts out, I can tell you this, the longer you look at that phone at your desk, the heavier it gets to pick up, right? So you just got to pick it up and go. Whether you say the right thing or not, you got to make sure you're getting it done. Part of my preparation was I would, in the morning, I would get up, and this is still most of the things I do today. I get up early, get my workout done, shower, have something to eat, get to the office, and I'm going to listen to a couple of inspirational videos or songs, get myself kind of in that mood of getting excited. I'm going to role play. I might look at a few scripts I have on my wall, and I just role play with myself or I role play with the person just to get used to it. Then I just pick up that phone or the headset and just hit go. You know what I mean? So by 8 o'clock or 8:30 the latest, I'd be on the phone making those phone calls. Out here in Mass, you can't put a stop before 8 o'clock. So I generally would do that. When I was younger, I may have broke that rule a couple times and called it 7:45, 7:30 just to get a jump because a lot of people were calling. But generally, it's 8 o'clock and you just start calling from there. And you hope to have it all done by noontime or 11:30. So 3 hours is all you really need during a day. And I guarantee if you do that every day and making calls to expired for sale by owners, your database, and then just listen to just solds. If you do that for 3 hours every day, you're gonna get business. You're gonna fall into it. There's no way you can't get business unless you're just not nice at all on the phone. But if you're looking for business, hopefully you're at least semi-nice and you can kind of put some words together that makes sense, you know?
Is there anything that you could say that would be magic for people to actually do this, pick up the phone? Is there anything that'll make it easier for people?
I think just role playing. Once you start role playing with someone that you're familiar with and you get used to that script, you just do it. It's just someone else. You just call them. I think the magic happens when you actually get that first appointment. And like I tell people all the time, some people are Babe Ruth. They're going to walk in and just hit one out of the park every single time. There's just natural guys who are good at that. Most of us have to work at our sales skills. And when I tell people what to look for when we look at this, is going, look, you're going to start making phone calls. They're going to be tough. You're not going to get anything. Then you make phone calls and you're going to get appointments. And they're probably going to, some of them are going to cancel on you. Then you can get phone calls, you're going to get appointments, you're going to go on them, and you're not going to get them because you don't have the script 100%. Then you're going to do phone calls, you're going to get appointments, you're going to go on them, and then you're going to start getting them, and then you start closing them. So it's a progression that you go, but once you start getting in, and again, it's just getting the rust off. Even me, if I take a 2-week vacation, I've been doing this forever. If I take a 2-week vacation, I get back on the phones, I feel rusty. I'm like, it's just because even 2 weeks off for me feels funny. So you have to get into it, and you have to do it daily. Do I still make calls today? 100%. Is this an expired market? No, but I want to keep my skill set sharp. When it does turn, I have to be ready.
So what are you doing today? I mean, a year ago, just about a year ago, 11 months ago, we went into lockdown, we went into quarantine, the whole COVID thing and the pandemic. What did you do differently?
So for me, I worked on my mindset more than anything. So for me, it was 100% mindset. I've already know how to make the calls. I know how to do the stuff. Coming up with new objection handlers for COVID, that was one of the things we had to develop. Like, what can we say when this, because you start getting the same objection, you go, okay, I got to write these down on my wall and figure out how I'm going to get around this script. So that was one of the things I did when I was younger too, was like, if I didn't know the answer to somebody, I'd write it down and ask my coach. And then I would just start playing a game where every week I'd have the objection of the week and try to come up with 1 or 2 objection handlers for that. And that gets me thinking of just always trying to handle objections. But what I did differently during COVID was, besides come up with different objections for COVID, I started working my mindset, getting, not just doing a workout, but doing an hour walk after that workout and just sort of, I don't really know it's meditating, but you listen to some positive stuff. I started doing a lot of affirmations, about money affirmations and about wellness affirmations and about success affirmations. And I usually do a 4-mile walk every single day. And part of that walk isn't just really for the workout. It's for me to get close with God, myself, and business. And that alone has changed my mindset, whether it's opened me up to be open to opportunity. I don't know what you'd call it. But I started doing that. And that's what was a huge shift for me this year.
That's, that goes into my next question, which is, your mindset and also the walk and everything. So there are people, and this may have happened to you. I know it happens to me. Is where first of all, you wake up, you don't want to get up. Just something about, your mood or something changes overnight or whatever. And then you get up and you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You don't feel it. So, but then again, it's Tuesday morning and it's not Saturday. So it really kind of matters if you don't have anything planned, but for the weekend, or if you don't have any showings or anything like that. What would be your tip for people to break out of it?
To get out of the funk of not feeling it, not having nothing on the plate for the day.
Right.
Well, look, if you've chosen real estate, it's your career. This is what you have to do. If your phone's not ringing, you have to call people. It's just a hard reality that you have to do that. So start training yourself. There's so much free. If you can't afford a coach, there's so much free stuff on the internet. You can just watch to try to get better at your skill set. Take time to just, either read about real estate or listen. I'm a big listen guy. I'm not a huge read guy. I do read, but I'm more of I like audio just to listen to it. There's so many free events that people give. Like, this is a free event you can be on right now, just watching. Like, what do we do differently? Get your mindset strong. This is what you need. The mindset for me was huge. Once you start believing that you can be successful and that you just have to thank God or the universe or Mother Nature or whatever that is that you want to throw there. Get grateful for what you have. I remember people telling me, well, I have nothing to be grateful for. I'm like, well, wait a minute. You need to ask these questions. Well, what do you call me on? My cell phone. Oh, you have a cell phone. You know, people would love to have a cell phone. They don't have a cell phone. How are you going to get to your appointment? Well, I'll drive my car. Oh, you have a car. You know, people have to walk in places that don't have a car. You know, what did you have for breakfast today? I had eggs. Oh, you ate. You know, people are hungry right now in this world that would love to eat. So there's so much stuff to be grateful for. If you think of it that way, and then you ask for what you want, and then you just go about your day, start putting those things in motion. It's weird how it works. It starts changing, man. I'm telling you. And then write down your goals every day. Write down I don't care how stupid they are. I want to be a billionaire. How crazy that sounds. Write it down anyways. Right. You just open that world to come into you. What do they call that? The law of attraction. You're allowing that to come at you. And right. I never believed in it before, but when I started doing it, I'm like, man, this really works. You know what I mean? Look, this year I decided that I'm going to go into I've never done the stock market before, ever, never. And this year I got into the stock market. I'm going to show you something real quick here on my E-Trade account. I started this account. I dumped in 25 into it at the beginning of the year, and look what I'm up to. Hold on, can you see that there? Wow. So I made almost 33 grand in 1.5 months on one stock. If you guys want to know, does anyone want to know what that stock is that's still climbing today?
Go ahead, tell them.
CCIV. So if you guys look that up, you'll see a bunch of videos on it. So I jumped in and I got it at $18 a share or $20 a share. Now it's up to 55, and it's supposed to jump up to 70 or 80 in the next month or so. But so I jumped into that all in and just said, let me just try doing this. I heard good things. And part of that was a year prior to that, I said, I want to make this amount of money. And I started, after a few months of saying that every day, I said, I want to make money through real estate, through coaching, through investment properties, and through the stock market. And guys, if you want to make money through the stock market, you have to buy a stock. If you want to make it through real estate, you have to pick up the phone or make a real estate deal. If you want to make it through a commercial property or investment property, you have to buy a property. If you want to win it through the lottery, you have to start buying scratch tickets. It's just how it is. You have to put the work into the things you want. You got to figure out what you want and how the easiest way is to get it, and then start doing it. Remember, me and you talked about, Dave, a TV show. I've wanted a TV show for a while. I've been interviewed in casting calls 3 separate times on 3 separate TV shows. At no time did I get it, but you better believe every day I'm saying I'm going to have a real estate TV show, and I will. At some point, it will come.
Right. Here it is. You're on right now.
I'm on TGIF, baby.
Right, baby. Here you go. Well, you know, it's funny you talk about writing it down, and I got to tell you the power. I want to give you my opinion of the power of writing things down, right? So every morning I read some stuff and then I write down. First thing I do is I download from my head a thought that's there, right? And if it's negative, it's out of my head now. If it's positive, it accentuates the day. Then I write my gratitudes. Then on the right side, I write, I love my kids. I love my life. I love, I go down and I say, I'm obsessed about my life and business. What my income goals are, what my health goals are, all this stuff. What's interesting and why I tell you all this is because I'll write my gratitudes and it starts getting me to think, wow, I really am grateful for this. And it's the same thing every day I write, honestly, right? And then again, on the other side, it's a full page. I write the same thing every day, but I know, I feel it after writing like 6 or 7 lines of this 25-line book. I start getting excited for the day.
Right.
And it's just like, it's almost like magic, right? So if someone wants to get really excited about their day and about their life, start writing down what you really want and what you have already to be grateful and thankful for. And that's exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I recently listened to someone speak about, putting out things that you want on, on stickies in front of you. And I don't know about you, but I have those in and around my house of stickies of things that I want to achieve or people I want to meet or whatever. And I tell you what, man, it helps and it works. What do you think about all that? Do you agree with that?
I do. It's funny. In KW, I still do training myself. So a bold came around and I did a bold, I think it was last year. And I put, in that bold class, they make you write down like 10 or 12 things that you want to happen. And then they wait a year and they mail it to you. And it's so weird that the 12 things I put down, I had accomplished every one of those things last year. When I looked at it, I go, Jesus, this actually worked. Like every one of those goals I hit. And I didn't think I was going to hit those goals, so it just, you open up that again, it comes with the business. And this is a great market. You should be doing business. You should know if you're taking out buyers, take out buyers. If you're trying to get listings, try to get listings. But you should be out trying to do something every single day to try to get that. And when you get that mindset to the right position, I think you start hearing people say stuff that you go, hey, I can help you with that. Just, it opens up the opportunity for you to be successful.
Right. So to wrap up some things here, what is the best advice you can give to an agent about prospecting?
Okay. Don't be afraid of it. There's no right or wrong answer. You don't, in this market, you're going to make calls. When the market was an expired market, Ferry would make you write down how many calls you made, and then you get an average of how many contacts you make before you get an appointment. You can't look at it that way. This market's a little bit different. So just make the calls, do it as your daily process. I promise if you do it every single day, it will come. Not every call is perfect. Even for me, I've been calling for a long time. My calls aren't perfect. Okay. Some of the videos you see of me in the YouTube video, closers people, those are like, I had recorded 50 of them and only one said yes. So that's the one I posted, right? So you get a lot of no's. It's just part of the business, and you don't let it affect you. It's not personal. It's just business. So don't be afraid to make the calls. Just practice, get good scripts, and just do it every day. You'll get better, I promise.
So yes or no, if you prospect every day for 3 hours and you're prospecting for sale by owners, expireds, database, social media, whatever, will you make money? Yes. I want everybody to hear that. It was a quick yes. It's a yes. If you do the work, it will happen. And here's, I think, not to steal a line from one of my favorite Christmas movies, Santa Claus. It's not seeing is believing. It's believing is seeing.
Right.
Right. And you actually believe that what's going to happen is actually going to happen. Deric, what else would you say is a key? If there is any other key to success aside from doing the work, what would you say to agents right now to help them along?
I think just believing in positivity that it's going to change, that work on your mindset. And that is, for me, that's one of the biggest things that changes. Sometimes I don't even know where I'm going to get a business from. And I'll just it's the weirdest thing. I'll be saying, I want a new listing appointment today. I want a new call today, and I'll make my calls and I won't get anything. And then out of nowhere, I'll get a pop-up on Facebook, or I'll get a call going, hey, Deric, this is Scott. Remember me? Yeah. Hey, I'm thinking about selling my house. Can you come down and take a look at it? Absolutely. And it's just so weird that the way it works, that if you're in that mindset and you think something good's going to happen, it's going to happen. And now if you think something bad's going to happen, something bad's going to happen. Your picture will be right either way. But why not think something good's going to happen? And then the more good you think, it's the weirdest thing. The more positive you are, the more positive you become. And then that positivity attracts others. It just does.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, Deric, there's a couple of things to end this. And one of the things I want to ask you is, first of all, how do people connect with you in order to, if they're interested in talking to you, working with you, coaching by you? Now, I have your website up there, and how
they can listen. I know my name's not a very common name, the way you spell it, but if you just Google my name, you're gonna find my phone number, my email. It's just I have so much social media out there; it's everywhere. But that phone number and that website are the two best places to grab me.
Awesome. So, aside from everything else that we're talking about, there's two things. Number one, before the last one, the first to last, last to last is, how do I help you? How do I help you grow your business? How can I help you?
Well, first of all, I need one of those real estate hats, because I know in order to be successful, I need to have one of those RE caps, man.
That was the next thing I was going to say, because this is why you came on the show.
That's right.
I mean, you could see I had one of these on because you couldn't let the Red Sox hat go without a Yankee hat, right?
Right. Yeah.
So now we've got this, and Deric, I know that's why you came on. I thank you so much. Everybody gets one of these, the RE Skill Builder hats, and everybody's going to get it. And I appreciate you so much. It's so great to have you and to have a conversation with you, because, like I said, I've been using you for 10 years.
Nice. Hey, I feel used.
So, Deric, just stay on for a minute. If anybody wants to get in touch with Deric, that's his website. This is his phone number. Just give him a call, talk to him. Deric not only is the top listing agent up in the Boston area, but he's also a great coach. So give him a call. Next week, we have Deontay Chantel coming on, who's a developer, realtor, and it has all this thing involved with a program called Journey to Develop Her. So we're going to have her on next week. Deric, stay on as we go out. And thank you very much. We'll see you all next week. If I can figure out how to, I always get screwed up doing this. So anyway, here we go. Where is it?